In this lecture, we will discuss about the probability. So, probability, basically, we define the probability as the probability is the concept which numerically measure the degree of uncertainty, and therefore certainty of occurrence of an event. Occurrence of an event. So basically, we numerically measure the uncertainty, degree of uncertainty, and certainty of occurrence of an event. So we start with the definition of experiment. So basically, we define the experiment. So experiment basically we follow in the physics practicals, chemistry practicals. So we take the definition of that. So that means an operation which produce the same results, which produce the same well-defined outcomes. Same well-defined outcomes is known as experiment. Is known as experiment. So we talk about the chemistry practical, we say take the same components and solutions. So we approximately get the same results. So for example, in science practicals, we get the same results every time because we take the same composition, same ratio. So this type of experiment we follow in generally physics practicals, chemistry practicals. Now we move to the basic terminology of random experiment. So the word random, so we do not get the same results every time. So for random experiments, so we define as in each trial. So when we follow the each trial, suppose we are tossing a coin, we are getting a head or we getting a tail. So in each trial of an experiment, conducted under identical conditions, the outcome is not unique. Outcome is not unique. So such experiment is called random experiment. So basically, when we toss a coin, we can take an example. So in each cases, we do not get the same result every time. So, for example, tossing of fair coins, tossing of fair coin. When we toss the coin, so we do not get the head every time. So first time we get the head, second time we get the head, third time we get the head, but fourth time we get the tail. So the experiment, such type of experiment is called random experiment. Second is rolling of unvised dice, drawing a card from a well shuffled pack of cards. So these are the example. So in each time we do not get the same result. So such type of experiment is known as the random experiment. So now after defining random experiment, we move to the sample space. So what do you mean by sample space? So sample space, that means the set of all possible outcomes. The set of all possible outcomes in a random experiment. So we first understand the random experiment, then we define the sample space. Is called the sample space. Is called the sample space. So we remember one thing. So with the element of sample space, the elements of sample space is known as the sample points. The element of sample space is known as sample point. So remember this thing. So now we are defining the sample space. So before defining or before taking the examples, so we will understand the some definitions related to the set theory. So some definition basically we relate with the set theory. So you know the set theory, a well-defined collection of objects. A well-defined collection. Well-defined collection of objects is said to be a set. Well-defined collection of object is said to be a set. So well-defined collection, number of students in a class, CR of the class. So such type of example is well-defined. Faculty who teach the particular subject. So now we just take some examples. So we define the set, set always denoted by the capital letters and the element of the set always denoted by the small letters. So sets we denoted as capital X, capital Y, Z, and so on. And the element of the set we denoted by small letters A, B, C. So when we are writing the set, so suppose we are writing the set X, so we always write in the form of curly bracket. So use the curly bracket always, and element of the set always write in a small letter separated by the commas. A, B, C, D. So we always separated by the commas. So this is the formal definition of the representation of sets. Same definition we will use in the sample space. So if we are going to write the sample space. So we use this definition. That means we take the separated by the commas and represent the sets. So now we can take an example. So here we take the example of sample space. So for list the sample space of tossing of fair coin. The example of list the sample space in tossing of fair coin. In tossing of fair coin. So sample space tossing of fair coin. So when we take two possible outcomes. So when we do the solution, so there are two possible outcomes. When we toss the coin, so we have two possible outcomes. So two possible outcomes. Either we get a head or we get a tail. So we get a head. Head we denoted as H, and tail we denoted as T. So now we write the sample space. So sample space we write into a curly bracket and elements separated by the commas. So head and tail we have two elements. So this set S is called the sample space. Set S. So this is the well-defined collection of head and tail. So head and tail, there are two possible outcomes. So this is the sample space. Now we take another example. Another example we take as two coins are tossed together. Two coins are tossed together. Write the sample space. Write the sample space. So now we are talking about the two coins. So two coins. So there are possible outcomes are both coin getting ahead. So that means the possible outcomes both coin getting ahead. One coin get a head, second coin get a tail, third coin first getting a tail and second getting a head, or both getting a tail. So there are all four possible outcomes. So that means this is our sample space. Now another example we can take as three coins are tossed. Three coins are tossed simultaneously. So list the sample space. So when we write the sample space, so three coin are tossed. So the total possible outcomes are all three getting a head, head, head. First two getting a head and third getting a tail. First getting a head, second getting tail, third getting a head. First getting a head, other two getting a tail. First getting a tail, second head, tail, 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 and head. And next is tail, head, head, and last is tail, tail, tail. So all possible outcomes are 8.